So one of my congregation came up to me on Shabbos and said, you know, Chazan, I notice that every time you sing this particular verse, you use a particular tune. To which I said, I'm really happy that not everyone's sleeping and that you're all listening. And this made me think, well, why don't I talk to you today about nusach, what it is, what it means for us, and is it relevant? So here we go. Imagine coming into shul on Kol Nidre and expecting the chazan to sing the old Kol Nidre tune. Kol Nidre Vesarei. And instead of that, he decides to put it to Yellow Submarine. Kol Nidre. How would you feel? Would you feel cheated? Would you feel that it was appropriate for the occasion? This really is the introduction to nusach. Nusach really is, it's a mode, it's a motif, or in German, a Steiger. It's like a feeling, it's like a whole group of notes in a sort of particular scale, and it all comes together and gives you a particular prayer feeling. Now, it's pretty old. It comes from around about the 8th century, the earliest sort of reports of nusach, which is pretty interesting that it's been for so long. Now, a lot of the tunes we as chazanim sing today, we as cantors sing today, are what we call Sinai melodies. Melodies from Sinai. Now, we don't literally mean that they came from Sinai and they were sang at Sinai, but what we do mean is that they're really old, and as well as being really old, we have a respect for them. They've been around for so long, and there's such importance to them. So, an example of these things would be the Kaddish on Rosh Hashanah, just before Musaf, which goes, Yitkadash, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabba, and the choir would go, Amen. That would be an example of Sinai. Another example would be Aleinu on Rosh Hashanah. Aleinu Leshabeya Lahadon HaKol. There are many Sinai tunes, but let's get to the basics of nusach. And again, this is very basic, and I can refer you to a fantastic article on Rabbi Jeffrey Schisler's site, which speaks about the history of nusach, what it is, and also a fantastic article by the great Alexander Knapp, who's a musicologist, Jewish musicologist, really very well known in this area. Nusach, as I said, is modes, motifs, and it's made up of scales. So if we go back to the basics, for those of you who have a basic musical knowledge, you have what you call a major scale. Now, a major scale is a very happy scale. It would be la 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 la. That sounds happy. Then you get a minor scale, which is sort of not as happy, a little sad. And an example of that in the Jewish thing would be Hatikva, for example. Kolot balevav, where we actually have a minor third. Another scale that we deal a lot with is what we call, it was originally called the Phrygian Mode. In Yiddish and Hebrew we call it the Phrygian Mode. Now the idea of that is as follows. Listen to this tune. Hava nagila, hava nagila, hava nagila venismecha. Can you hear the Jewish feel to it already? Now what we've done, for those of you who know a bit more in the music field, is we've taken the minor scale and we've actually, if our first note in the scale would be ta, second note would be ta, and third note would be ta. So we've actually done a semitone move first, and then a whole tone and a half after that, which gives us that feeling of the Phrygian mode. Now we use all these different modes at different times within our service. For example, Kabbalat Shabbat, we use what's called the Hashem Malach mode. And that's like a major mode, as we discussed, happy mode, but we do a few different things. We flatten the 7th chord. In other words, we take it down a semitone. Let me give you an example. And just by flattening that, we get that Jewish feel. We do that on Shabbat, where we use the Phrygish. We use another mode called the Magen Avot, which is on a Friday night. And that's almost a mixture of a major and a minor mode. And these modes are actually named after or get their names from prayers that they're attached to. So on Friday night we sing Magen Avot Bidvaro Mechayem Etim Amaro. Then we change modes. So these are all different modes. So this is really an introduction to nusach and the different modes. Now the thing is it important? Who cares? Will you in 50 years' time care if you come into synagogue and the chazan's singing Lechadodi to We Are the World? Do we keep a tradition that's come from the 8th century as early as that? That's my question to you, and that's where I leave you off today.